Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Mondays, where we talk to guests who are professionals in the mental health space, those that live with or experience a mental health challenge, or advocates of mental health. And I didn't even do my like little intro thing that I normally do, but hey, that's okay. And my guest hasn't jumped on yet. So I guess you're going to get me for today unless she happens to jump in soon. So that's okay though, because there's so much happening right now and it's my birthday. Woo! So special day for me and something that I want to share with all of the viewers. So if she doesn't happen to jump in, that's totally fine. If she does, that's totally fine too. So, again, I do this show every single Monday at 11. It's like 11:05 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, or I was actually corrected the other day. It's MDT because Mountain Standard Time and Mountain, I don't even know what the MD stands for, but there's different times because like Arizona and anyways. So we do it every every Monday at 11:05-ish a.m. in Colorado time, whatever that happens to be. So, and normally we have guests on who are either experiencing a mental health challenge or they have in the past and it's led them into whatever they do as their profession today. And I don't know if you have watched. Hopefully you have, if you've watched any of the previous episodes. As a reminder, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure there's a button down below that you hit subscribe so that you don't miss any other episodes. And make sure if you're on Facebook, then jump on. We always have the like pre-show thing that comes up usually a day before we actually go live. So jump on to Facebook, jump on to YouTube, and soon, very, very soon, there is going to be a link on our website that holds all of the Mental Health Mondays. And I promise you, one of the coolest things that I have experienced doing this show is that all my guests tend to lead into each other, which is really, really cool because there's so many people in this world that have similar experiences. And so really the true message of this show is that you're not alone, and what you may or may not be experiencing is not abnormal. And there are ways to help you, or people that you can talk to, or people that you can hear their message and it might relate to you in one way or another. And so that's really the whole goal, that and why I started Mental Health Mondays. And I love the feedback that I've been getting lately is that it's just an honest conversation. That's really all I'm looking to do with this show, is to have those hard conversations that nobody wants to talk about, but they're so important. Like if you broke your arm, you're going to go to the doctor, right? Because you don't want your arm just like dangling there. And if you don't get it fixed or you don't go to the doctor, then you're probably going to have to get surgery at a later time and they're going to have to re-break it. And that is traumatic. It's a traumatic experience just breaking somebody, knock on whatever wood I can find. I've never broken a bone, but I have sprained my ankle many, 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 many times. And I think sometimes that's worse because it takes longer to heal. But that goes the same for our brain. Like our brain, not that it breaks, but it can definitely give us some challenges. And so going to our doctor is really important. And maybe you're one of those people that's like, I don't even know who to talk to. Like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know who's out there, what professionals are in the space. And so give me some information. Well, the great place to start is your regular family doctor. You more than likely have been going to them for a really long time, at least for me. I mean, I don't even know. It's been years and years and years. And so they have that history about what you've been through. And so they're a really great place to start. But I wouldn't stop there. If you're not getting the results that you need or want, then look into specialists. So we have like psychologists, therapists, counselors, peer support groups, peers that have been through what you've been through, and they're actually trained. So we do, we categorize them as professionals because they've actually been trained to help their peers. Rehab centers, there's so many different professionals in the space. And then you have your holistic or your non-professionals, I guess you could say, which are your coaches, like life coaches. Me personally, I am a mental health or mindset coach in a way. And so I help people one-on-one and in group settings. And really what I specialize in, if you don't know yet, I specialize in depression, anxiety, trauma, and all those other mental health challenges, because that's what I do. And those are the people that I that really come to me, or that I draw in, are those people. And it's been really amazing and a really cool experience for me to share my journey and allow them to go through their own journey and really bring up those things that are unconscious mind locked away, like those traumas that we don't want to relive. And the coolest part of what I do is you don't necessarily have to relive it fully, but we can change possibly that fear or whatever's going on in your body and move it forward. So instead of feeling really, really stuck, feeling really, really alone, we can move through whatever's happening and really change the dynamic of what's going on in your life. So you have those holistic practitioners, or coaches that have lived the experience and know what they do is really impactful for, or has been really impactful for their life and impactful for the clients or people that they have or that come to them. My brain was like, bleh, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. So it's just amazing that, I mean, BCC Evolution, if you haven't been on our website yet, there are so many resources up there. There's online resources that you literally can just click and go to a website and do all the work your own self. Or there are actual people that I vetted myself. I'm very careful and cautious with the people that we refer to because I want to make sure that they're going to be helpful for you versus hurtful. And that's really, really important to me and what BCC Evolution is trying to accomplish. So I get tons of requests every single day asking to be put on our resources page. And honestly, I don't take any of those requests. Like, I have to do the work to find out, is this website legit? Is what they're telling you actually going to help you versus hurt you? And so there's a lot of research on the backside that I do just to make sure that we're giving you the best possible resources. And again, reaching out to me is a great way to start too. If you're like, I don't know where to start, I don't know who to talk to, I will get a little bit more information from you and find out if you need to go insurance wise or if you are okay with the self-pay. And then we can have a conversation about what that looks like, how I can specifically help you, and or all of the amazing people that I have in my back pocket. So what I'm saying to you is that you are not alone. There are a lot of us out in this world that really have experienced or gone through similar-ish situations. Nobody will ever know what you're fully experiencing because we all experience things differently. And we have to also recognize that my journey is not going to be the same as your journey, and your journey is not going to be the same as the next person's journey. And how we experience, whether it be a mental health challenge or suicidal thoughts or whatever that may look like for you, no two journeys are the same. And so if you want to understand the journey of other people, it's okay to ask that too. So those are just some things that I want to throw out. And one of the greatest reasons why we do Mental Health Mondays is to showcase all of these incredible people and what they do as a company or a business or as a provider or a practitioner or a therapist or a counselor or whatever they happen to be. Really showcasing what tools and resources you have at your fingertips. So, this is episode number 32. So there are 31 more episodes that you can go back and watch and listen to others' experience or what they do professionally and reach out to them. Because the coolest part is that I listed all of their information in the comments. So you literally can just click on the links and go to their website, do some more research by yourself, and or reach out to me and be like, hey, that guest that you had, I really want to get connected to them. And I will do a personal introduction to that person because, again, all of these people have been on the show and I'm so grateful for them coming on and sharing their story and their journey. So if you are one of those people that you're like, I have a story to tell, I want to tell my story, hit me up too. I can bring you on as a guest. We are booked up until the end of August going into September, but that's okay. That's awesome because we have so many guests lined up that we really want to be able to share. And like today, it may be a last minute thing that my guest doesn't show up and I'm just sitting here talking to you. So why not jump on? If anybody's watching, they can just like come on too. One of the things that I always forget to say at the very beginning is if you're watching this live and you want to make any comments, you have to enable StreamYard to allow your comments, and I can actually see them all pop up, which is pretty cool. So if you happen to be watching this, but since it's my birthday, hey, and no, I'm not 21. No, I'm not anywhere in my 20s. No, I'm not anywhere in my 30s. I am actually 42 today. And it has been an incredible journey around the sun. I think that's the saying that they say. But so many cool things are coming up for BCC Evolution, myself, and just everything in general. I actually got married last week. So it was a magical, fabulous evening. There's all this like planning and all this stuff that like, I mean, you go in and out talking about relationships, right? And talking about mental health challenges. Man, a wedding, that one will put some stress on your brain for sure. And I'm not saying that it's all bad. It's just a lot of planning. And we had some really incredible wedding coordinators. Thank you so much for helping us. Holy moly. I don't think I could have done it without them, especially guiding us along the way. And so it was just a really magical night, a really magical experience. And my husband, it's still kind of weird to say like officially, but it's really cool to be able to say that. I mean, we have been together almost 6 years actually in August. So it's not like, yay, we're married, we're going to go on a honeymoon, we're going to do this. Nope. Life continues. It's just like the other 6 years that we were together. But one of the cool parts is that your brain kind of starts shifting of like, oh wow, this person's not going to potentially leave me, right? Like there's a lot of mindset shifts that start to happen that I'm noticing. And I've become a lot more aware of my emotions and my like what my brain does. And so it's been pretty cool to like start noticing these shifts like within myself. And you have all this lead up of all of this planning, and then like there's this back and forth of like, do you want to get married, do I not want to get married, do I want to get married, do I not, blah blah, right? You have this like whole dynamic, and it tends to, a lot of people actually end up breaking up before they go to get married because there's so much stress that is put on your body and your mind and trying to plan and all these things. And that's why I say that the journey has been really cool. At moments, it's like, yes, we're doing this. And then at moments, you're like, oh my gosh, we're doing this and I got to get this done and this done and this done and this done. And so your body just naturally has this stress that happens with weddings, with so many other things too in life. And so it's really great to be aware of how do we move forward and move through versus just sitting in that stress, right? And that's something that I don't know the full answer to. I know that I do a lot of work, like I was saying, with my coaching. I know that I have those tools and those resources available to me, but at times it's really hard to pull those out. So you're not alone in those thoughts of, wow, can I do this? Can I not do this? Right? There's so many things, so many factors that go into life and the journey. And then there's some really cool things that happen. Like the night just like became magical and it was really amazing and perfect. And then you start thinking about like the things that didn't go perfect and blah, blah, blah. But that's okay because nobody noticed. Nobody noticed except for maybe me or a couple people, but otherwise nobody else noticed. So that has been a really cool journey and it's only a week in, but it's still I'm seeing a lot of like mindset shifts even within myself. And one of the coolest parts is that I had a coach and I've had many, many coaches and many, many mentors that have helped me to really understand why I do what I do when I do it and really be aware of my emotions and my thoughts and my patterns and all those things that could potentially take over my mind. And so if you need a mindset shift, one of the cool things that I'm about to do and give all of you, because it's my birthday and I can, we offer at BCC Evolution, we offer multiple levels of education. And where I started originally is I created 7 strategies for mental wellness to remind myself how to keep shifting that mindset when I start getting potentially in that deep place or that dark place or whatever it might be, or maybe I'm getting frustrated and angry all the time. I have to remind myself that I have these tools and I can shift my mindset. So our first education class that we offer is called Shift Your Mindset Bootcamp. It actually walks you through all 7 strategies that I designed personally for myself and have been beneficial in training to others. This one kind of is more for those people that really truly are struggling and or experiencing a mental health challenge like depression or anxiety. It's not so much designed for the people that want to help other people unless you're somebody that just wants to get more information about what you can recommend to others. So this boot camp, the Shift Your Mindset boot camp, really is designed for those that are struggling that need to learn the tools to be able to really start shifting their mindset. And then you go into our next education program, which is our mental health first aid. And that is in partnership with Mental Health First Aid USA. We offer the adult and the youth curriculum, which we just had. Okay, so I've done 2 classes this month. I literally just finished last week on Wednesday a class with the city of, I always forget, it's like Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, or I know I have it written down and I don't know where I put it, but I was able to jump in and be a guest educator. And we had 7 or 8 people in that class, but the class that BCC had in July, we had 26 participants. We had a youth mental health first aid class and we had 26 participants and it was amazing. They were from ages 16 up to, I would say, probably like 45-ish. So that was super cool to be able to host that class. So BCC Evolution has this month, we're in July. So August, we have an adult class that we're doing. And then in September, we have a youth. And that's what we do is we flip flop. So we go youth, adult, youth, adult, youth, adult. So what I want to offer is for my birthday, and I'll tell you in a minute because I'm not done telling you what we have. So, mental health first aid, that's going to give you a certificate that's good for 3 years, and it teaches you how to recognize, identify, and assist those in need with a mental health challenge, utilizing the tools that mental health first aid and the National Council of Behavioral Health have put together. And it's just like CPR, it's just like regular first aid, but it's for your brain. So it's even cooler. And it helps those people that want to help others get educated about mental health. So it's that good, like general mental health um, education. Then the next level, which was just released, which is super exciting, but the Breaking the Cycle of Trauma, which is BCC Evolution's proprietary curriculum. And that is just the next level. So if you've already taken mental health first aid, you've already taken other, like QPR is another really great one. I don't train that, but it's another really great like suicide prevention one. If you've taken multiple of those different classes, Breaking the Cycle of Trauma is one of that next level. So it's really like, what do I actually say to people that are struggling or suffering with a mental health challenge or substance use challenge? Trauma, it goes way more in depth about trauma and how that actually affects our brain, depending on where trauma lives or happens during the maturation periods. And then the coolest part is that you actually get to design a personal safety and self-care plan that I designed myself. And this will help you if you're one of those people that experience those lows or the depression or the anxiety. This is a tool that you can have in your hands, that you can have that conversation with your loved ones. You can have that conversation with yourself when you're at a high point. Don't try to do it when you're at a low point. But we actually walk you through how to design this specifically for you. Also, there are two NLP techniques built into this curriculum. I got permission from my trainer to add those techniques directly into our curriculum, which are really, really cool because you have to pay a lot of money to become an NLP instructor or practitioner to get this information. And I got permission to be able to put them into our curriculum. So you're getting like the backside without having to do all the education that I did. Only 2 of them, but still, it's really cool. So that is Breaking the Cycle of Trauma. And then if you're like, man, I want more information, I'm totally like you are, Kelly. I love gaining more and more and more information, but I want to do something with it. I want to impact people's lives. I want to be able to be an educator, and I want to train people to identify and help and assist those that are in need, because as we know, the mental health world is completely inundated right now, and we don't have enough access to people and resources. So you can become an instructor for Breaking the Cycle of Trauma. And we have our first class this week. So we only have a couple more spots open as instructors. But if that's something that's like tugging on your heart and you're like, I've been wanting to do something in the mental health space for so long, and I want to be a part of the first group of instructors for BCC Evolution, I want you to jump in. It's this Thursday and Friday. Reach out to me if you're interested. We do have an application process because we want to make sure that people are doing it the right way, right? And they're going to be able to utilize it. Sorry, my guest just like sent me an email. So, anyways, I don't think she's going to be able to jump on, and that's totally okay. We'll reschedule her. No worries. So if you are like, I want to do something in the mental health space, I've been wanting to train people, I can't really afford to go like through the whole get my bachelor's, get my master's, all of that in social work or whatever it might be. I don't really have the funds for like to become a mental health first aid instructor, right? Because their curriculum is quite a bit more than ours. Reach out to me. because we are starting the training this Thursday and Friday. So if you can jump in, now is the time. And I'll teach you about all the tools and everything that you need to become a successful instructor for breaking the cycle of trauma. And that's just even more tools in your tool belt. And if you are like me, I love lots of tools. I love lots of research. I love learning. So that is an option. So now I've rolled it all out. I've told you all the programs at BCC Evolution in a really long amount of words because that's what I do. The number one, where you start if you're struggling or suffering with a mental health challenge, depression, anxiety, any of those that you really need to start shifting your mindset, jump on board with our Shifting Your Mindset Bootcamp. It's an online self-paced training that you can do at any point in time. Number two is mental health first aid, either the adult or the youth, and they're both adults assisting adults or adults assisting youth. So it's an 18 plus course, but you get a 3-year certification just like CPR. It's just like first aid, those other ones, but for your brain. Way cooler. I mean, all of it's life-saving. So get all of the certifications. So that's the second one. Number 3 is if it's been tugging on your heart to become or do something in the mental health space, you can become a instructor for breaking the cycle of trauma. First class is this week, Thursday and Friday. So you can jump in there, and if you hit me up and say, hey, I watched your Mental Health Mondays, I will give you a discount since you're going to be part of the first instructors. So that's on top of what I'm about to offer too. So that's your fourth ways, because you can actually take the class. So you have Shift Your Mindset Bootcamp, mental health first aid, adult or youth. Then you can actually take the Breaking the Cycle of Trauma class as a participant, or you can become an instructor for Breaking the Cycle of Trauma. So again, it's my birthday. I get to do what I want. And what I want to offer to you is any of those classes, you get 50% off. So if you're watching this and you want to take one of those classes, if you use the promo code BCC50, let me throw it up here. So BCC50, and where do you go to use this promo code? Go to bccevolution.org/calendar or event calendar, or just go to bccevolution.org. And then you can look at the events calendar. And again, you want to use the promo code BCC50 because I can, and it's my birthday. So there we go. And I would love to have you join us for one of our classes, whether it be the Shift Your Mindset Bootcamp, the Mental Health First Aid, or the Breaking the Cycle of Trauma as a participant or an instructor. And my guest did jump in. So we're going to just take a moment since she's here. We'll just bring her on and then we'll roll from there. Welcome.
Hello, I'm so sorry. I'm actually the sun's come through. I apologize to you and all the viewers. Firstly, it's I must be going through the change. So what's happening is, we talk about mental well-being. I just want to share something, with the viewers, especially hopefully the women can sympathize with me. So what I've been going through is like forgetfulness. I have my to-do list. I have everything. I get notifications, but I have got brain fog and I just can't seem to compute anything. So this is the reason why the prompts came up and I thought, what am I doing? Where am I doing it? And that really has knocked my confidence for 6, I'll be very honest. And it's now what I've started to do is actually reaching out to other women and asking them, is this normal? And even reaching out to other people's partners. I'm like, how do you cope with the sanity that us women are going through? How do you support us? And it has impacted me, other women, and the sanity. So I know I just quickly jumped in, but just to give the viewers a bit of a background, it's, mental well-being, it can be trauma, but it can just be the normal change. We have our periods, we go through the change, menopause, perimenopause. And especially for us women, it knocks us sideways. We think, oh, we've got through this, and then something else comes along. So more hormones, play havoc with us. So
yeah, no worries at all. I figure I was like, I'll just roll with it, and if she
bless you.
happens to jump on.
I was like messaging, and I was like, how can I? I'm really sorry, but I know it's not like me, but it's just really belted me. It's knocked me out the park, and I really don't know which way I'm going. So, for all those women out there, I understand my mothers, grandmothers, I understand everybody, the sisters out there, what you've been going through, and unfortunately, the medical services we have are not really catered for our needs, and even the mental health support, even workplaces. Now, the question I asked was with the men. I'm like, no, men are our age or older. Or even younger? Do you know about women's mental health? And I can appreciate, especially the male, they do understand the male side of it. But when it comes to women, people are a bit shy talking about mental health and what women go through. They always seem to think it's a hormonal thing, but there's more to it than just hormonal, because it knocks our confidence, makes us emotional, and then we start questioning our own worth. Who are we? We're these women in corporate, or housewives, mothers, daughters, whatever role we play. We have a big role, and we're magnificent in our roles. But sometimes when these sort of things come up, we start going backwards. We start going to a deep hole. We start digging a bigger hole for ourselves and just want the earth to cover us up. And this is this is why I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to discuss this here. This wasn't the intent really, just to talk about my mental well-being on perimenopause or menopause or anything. Really to talk about mental well-being. And I think it just gave me insight this week. Trauma, all these other parts, do play havoc on us and do leave us scarred. But even something as simple as hormones that we're not really designed to handle. Doesn't seem to be we're designed to handle.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that I have also experienced a lot of brain fog, but I think it's because I had so many things that were happening just in general. But I would love share a little bit with the audience. What specifically do you do?
So with me, I do two things really. By day, I work in the public sector, so I'm a corporate servant by day, and I'm a holistic coach by with my evening cape. And what I do is help women, men as well. So it's specifically designed for women, helping them get through trauma, and it's really helping them find themselves again. So it can be emotional trauma, physical, sexual, or it can just be some childhood issues that they've had. They've lost weight, issues with relationships, or even career goals as well, aspirations, and mentoring them as well. Say, okay, where are you now? Where would you like to be? And them helping them heal. So I do have holistic tools as well. So I do Reiki, trance work, hypnotherapy, and helping them go back in time. But we support it. This is one of those journeys. When you do go back in time, it needs to be supported. Any kind of healing work, especially with deep healing work, you do really need somebody there who knows, has been there for somebody else, or knows what tools will work for you, because it can be very painful and traumatic living the past again. Because your past will give you clues to your future, because you can have, for example, self-sabotaging behaviors. It could be your relationship patterns. We all have different childhoods. We are born, and even experiences, birth and experiences can be quite traumatic. And the bonding part, if you haven't bonded with your parent, if you're a premature baby, for example, no fault of your own, if you're a premature baby, you have to go into an incubator. That does play havoc on the bonding part. And through life, you're actually trying to miss that void, or trying to fill that gap. So it's making people aware of the patterns, why they've got those patterns, and then helping them go through that and help. So it's also breaking that emotional legacy as well, because certain patterns we get passed down to us, certain belief patterns, emotional patterns, even things like trauma, sexual trauma, physical trauma, wars, which were more, I know we are experiencing, hearing about the wars now, which were more prevalent before. And those sort of emotions carried through, shame, embarrassment, and it's helping them think, unravel that. Where did it come from? Breaking that cycle so the next generation doesn't carry that forward.
Yeah. And what got you into this line of work?
It was really my own experience. So what happened was, it was about 10 years ago, my father passed away suddenly. So it was, he'd been ill. but it was going through a good period. I'd just been going back to hospital and, seeing him, and about half an hour to an hour later, get phone call he's passed. And that was a sudden shock, just seeing him. We've spoken, my daughter spoke to him on the phone. How can he suddenly have passed? So that's where it started. And then what I found was that the counselling services weren't really, were there, but it didn't really help me. I fell into depression. So my mental well-being really, really was knocked. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't function. And then what happened was the doctors wanted to prescribe prescriptions, antidepressants for me. And I was scared of taking antidepressants. I really didn't trust my own ability. And I was fearful because I had 2 young children. If I were on antidepressants, and what if you hear about people being hooked, or if I couldn't feel the emotions, what would happen to my children? So what I did, I took things really drastically. I just left the country. I went to a different country. I thought, okay, leave home, leave everybody behind, my children, husband, and we moved to a different country. I thought, cut ties, things will work out. And the thing with mental well-being and suppressed emotions and traumas is you push them down without realizing it. They will spring out one day, and your rubbish is a bit like, your wardrobe. You keep pushing everything in. When those doors open, everything comes flooding out. And because you haven't been looking after those emotions, they can be quite ugly, and they can open in the wrong time. Mm-hmm. And, it's, you get taken back, and then it's having to deal with the 10-year build-up, plus going back and dealing with, what had happened there. So it was a lot of time I had to spend dealing with my emotions. And unfortunately, during that time, you have to realize, because you're hurt, you're traumatized, you don't know any better. So it's if anyone is in that situation, please be kind to yourself, because you don't know any better. What that does is it impacts your, if you're a parent, it impacts your children, and it impacts your family and, everybody around you. So you may even find people leaving you, friends will suddenly leave you.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing your journey also. And I know definitely the experience also, I had paired 2 traumas together, and then ultimately you just shove them down. But for me, my coping mechanism was just keep going.
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden it's like you hit this brick wall, and then you're like, wow, I need to actually pay attention to myself and see what I'm doing. So
yeah, because I think us women are bad, but men are as bad as us women. So it was not until I went to this journey, and regardless of what gender you are, we're all the same at the end of it, really. It's just sometimes I think us women are more lucky, really, than men are, because we've brought up in this culture where we can actually be open, vulnerable, speak up. With the man, there's that stereotype. He needs to be strong. He needs to be the head of the family, macho, etc. That's that sort of expectation that society has put on him. And I know things are changing now, but I wonder how much of that is really changing. So with men, they suppress it down further. So when they do lash out, people are wondering, where did that come from? It's not that they've been cruel. It's just that they've been triggered by something. And that's what I've noticed, doing my work. You can be just talking, having chats. You can actually end up triggering somebody without that person realizing that they've been triggered, because it's an unsolved emotion.
yeah. I mean, I think that so BCC Evolution does a film festival every year, and not this year, but last year we had a lot more. Well, I guess this year we did too, but we had a lot more male centric films that were showcased with mental health. So I think that it's starting to shift a little bit, but like you said, they tend to shove it down more because we have those words of like, be a man, get over it, buck up, or whatever you want to say. And so having open conversations like we do here, I think is really important across the world. And that's why I love you are in the UK. Where specifically are you?
I'm actually in the Midlands, East Midlands, in a city called Nottingham.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah.
I love the fact that I can bring on guests from across the world, and the coolest part is that there is no like demographic or race or border that mental health. I mean, we're all very not similar, but we're all experiencing it across the globe, and so that's why I think it's really cool to be able to showcase from the US. And then also I've had more from the UK, but a couple here and there, other places.
I think, you know, what we have to remember is that at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have, regardless of what culture we come from, what color we are, we all have the basic needs. You don't need to put a color on a person or a face on a person. If you just take away, you know, everyone needs to eat, everyone needs a relationship, you know, wants a relationship, everyone wants to be loved and, you know, feel okay in themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said that you specifically work with women more so than men?
I do, you know, so it was, for me, really, when I first started, it's like, you know, when anybody that comes into the business, you know, you're a woman. I understand a woman. So, you know, even when I talked about brain fog earlier on, because I know women can relate and say, oh, you know, I can understand that. So this was like, okay, what I aim to do is I will only give you the tools and techniques that I've tested. If I'm not sure about something, and then I will very, you know, hold my hand up, say, I'm not sure about this. Now maybe you should try this coach, or maybe there's somebody else that's best suited for you. So what I found strange was that men started approaching me with their emotional health. And I thought, you know, and I was very honest about, you know, to them. And I said, you know, I'm not really, maybe I won't be able to help you, but I'll try my best. If I can direct you to somebody else, I'm more than happy to. But you know, what I found surprising was that they stuck. And then I realized, you know, we're not that really different. After a couple of, you know, clients, I'm like, you know, men and women really aren't different. It's just that our coping mechanism is very different.
Yeah.
But, you know, we have the same emotions. We have the same needs.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you said that you use multiple different modalities. So there's Reiki and hypnosis. And then I know on yours, you also talked about utilizing NLP. And so you've kind of just combined all of those into whatever works or is helpful for that person specifically.
That's right, because what I found was, you know, when I first started, you know, you set very stringent, okay, this is the model that I'd be using, but everybody's different. Everybody has their own story. And then you know, through intuition and by working with clients, you know, you develop that experience, you think, okay, this is a time to intervene. For example, with my Reiki, I don't offer that to everybody because, you know, they have to be stable in themselves. If then the beginning of, you know, of our program or a package, you know, sessions, whatever you call them, if I don't feel they're grounded, you know, they're not wholly in themselves. It's, you know, I want offer Reiki, for example. You know, we might have a few sessions or a few packages, and then I may offer that to them. Because with Reiki, what that does is an energy shift. So you have your traditional, you know, techniques or even NLP. You know, we go through timelines and go through the different modalities. But with Reiki, is an energy shift. And what that does accelerate and move the energy blocks very quickly. For example, if you're fearful, you know, you've not had a good relationship with your mother, it's very much, you know, near the womb, the root chakra, right at the bottom. And I can't quickly shift somebody, because if I shift somebody and they're not feeling whole in themselves, it can actually cause them emotional distress. So it's, you know, being aware with them. And also they have, even like with trance work, you have to have that trust with somebody. And, you know, once you have that trust, you know, I think you can shift it very quickly. You know, people suddenly, you know, remove the guilt. Guilt can be removed, you know, relationships. You know, I've had somebody I worked with through trance work. She was able to forgive her mother, and, you know, her mother was at the end of life. She was able to forgive her mother before her mother passed. So that was a big, you know, shift for her. But it takes, in small steps. It's not something that I would offer straight away to anybody, because I know the impact, and I don't want it to be detrimental for that person either.
Yeah. I think that's huge. I mean, making sure that we're helpful versus hurtful, right? And making sure that I know, at least like in my own practice, we don't just go straight into the trauma. It's more of building in the resources, and then we ease into kind of changing that trauma. But yeah, I think it's so important to make sure that we're starting in like more of a neutral space and then doing more deep dives if it's necessary or not. And do you have clients from all across the world? Do you mainly work with people in your community, or how does that look?
So with me, when I first started, I thought I'd have a lot of people from my community, from my background, which I was very surprised that it didn't happen that way. I have clients, so I do Reiki work, which is different. That's very international. That is long distance. I don't need to be present. I can connect with people across the globe. So I've had, Australia, Canada, Norway, America, and all parts of the UK as well. And plus, some parts of Pakistan and India. So different parts of the world. But with coaching, it's more like local, like UK people. So again, it's like very much, there's the option in the clinic or actually doing it face to face through Zoom. And sometimes I don't even see people because with coaching, it can get quite emotional. And I do say, give them the option is that we don't need to be on camera today. We can just have an audio call because I can tell from their voice and the energy where they are. And it's not fair. I like to respect people I'm working with, and it's not fair to put them through that part. Because if they want to see me and they're tearful, obviously the hug, the tissue, the water's all there. But if it's early stage and you don't really know me that well, I don't want you to put you in a situation you feel you're compromised. So I'm happy to do phone calls, and we don't even need to see each other. So you can have your conversation with me. We can pause if you're feeling a bit tearful, or something you've been triggered by something. We can just pause, and then I'm trying to unpack it that way.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely whatever the needs of the person is, which is amazing. And so if somebody wants to work with you, how can they find you?
Okay, I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram, and there is actually a website. So just bear with me. My name is a bit tricky to spell, so I can't apologize. That's the name my father actually gave me. It's a name he liked, so I can't apologize for that name. So for me, Instagram is abshad.z. So it's abshiad.z. On Facebook is Abshad again, abshiad.zahid, Zahid. And there is actually a website. So I'm working with an aesthetics company called perfectionaesthetics.co.uk. And what they've done, they've actually created a wellness division. So what we do is not just look at the external beauty. So, they do aesthetics part, the Botox, the fillers, everything else that anybody wants, laser, whatever people want, they have those services available to them. But they also look at the internal part. So we have the holistic part, which is the Reiki, the hypnotherapy, the quantum healing as well, plus coaching. So it's helping clients say, okay, it's great to look good outside. Let's see how you look inside as well. If you want, we can help you, set your goals. It can be, corporate goals. It can be your own personal, relationship goals, whatever goals you want, or even trauma healing. It doesn't have to always be trauma. If there's something else, you just want to be good in yourself. How can I be better? Because everyone wants to look beautiful outside, but if let's help people look beautiful inside as well, so you're all aligned.
Yeah, and I did, the link is right below, at least for
Thank
the that one, and then all of your information is actually in the comments. So
thank you.
if you want to reach out, you can reach out and via the link in the comments. But any final thoughts or words that you want to share with the audience?
What I will do, actually, I will share my freebie. Please, it's just it's a booklet, it's an e-booklet about self-acceptance. By all means, please do go. There's some tips and tricks in there. Go and download it and use it as a reference guide. It may even if it's one tip. But my takeaway really is to everybody, please embrace yourself. Never, ever be embarrassed about yourself. We're all different. No one's perfect. Everyone has flaws. And, some people hide it very well. But what I've realized now, I've been in corporate world for 20 years plus, and I've spoken to directors, right to the top vice presidents. Everyone's human. And as soon as you open up, be vulnerable, you'll be surprised what they share with you. Because behind the exterior, the role, the position is a human being that sits there. So embrace yourself. And there's only one of you. You're unique and magnificent and beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm so glad you were able to jump on.
I am so sorry to everybody. I really am. And, I apologize as a brain fog woman. And I do hope you can offer me some sympathy and guidance if anybody's been through this.
Yeah, no worries at all. I just appreciate you being able to jump on. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. Even as a latecomer.
All right, y'all. That was another amazing episode of Mental Health Mondays, where we talk to professionals that are in the mental health space, mental health advocates, or those that have experienced or live with a mental health challenge. Again, if you're watching this, make sure you hit down that subscribe button on YouTube so that you don't miss any other episodes of Mental Health Mondays. And as a reminder, I told you earlier, but you can always rewind. For my birthday today, I am offering you 50% off any of the educational programs that BCC Evolution offers. Again, there are 4 different ones that you can choose from. So all you have to go is bccevolution.org/event calendar, or just go to bccevolution.org. I'm sure you can find it. And use the promo code BCC50, and that'll get you 50% off any of those classes that we offer. Or just reach out to me if you have questions, comments, concerns. Just reach out to me and we can have a conversation and see which one would be right for you to go through. And as a reminder, BCC Evolution is a 501c3 nonprofit, and you can become a warrior for mental health today with only a $20 donation per month or more, and you get these cool shirts. So go sign up for a class, go grab your Warrior for Mental Health shirt, and we will see you next Monday for another episode of Mental Health Mondays. Bye.